Now we'll restrict our discussion towards first the Grignard's reagent, only bit of Grignard reagent as much as this chapter demands, and then we'll discuss about the preparation reactions of alkyl halides and their properties. Okay, that would be the end of this chapter. So first to start with, what are the reactions of alkyl halide with metals in general? With metals, so we know that if Rx is being treated with 2 moles of lithium, we will get RLi plus LiX. If you could recall from hydrocarbons, we have used this reaction to synthesize alkanes by using Korehouse synthesis. So this is the reaction which it would take place. Second, we have seen one more reaction where we use Rx to react with sodium metal in the presence of ether, which will give us R. We call this as Woods reaction. This is another reaction of with metals which we have seen. Similarly, if we use Rx plus sodium lead alloy, okay, then you will get R4Pb, which is called tetra alkyl lead. In case if it is Et, we call it as tetra ethyl lead. Okay. In short, it is written as TEL. You would find this used to be this was used to be in petroleum industry, where in petrol this used to be added. Now it's not. Now it is completely unleaded petrol. Fourth is reaction with magnesium. This is where we'll discuss more. So Rx, when you treat with magnesium in dry ether, we would get RMgX. This formation is called Grignard's reagent. Okay, this is not valid for fluorine. So fluorine bond can't be broken easily to get this reaction. It is expected, again there is no clear cut mechanism for it, but it is expected like magnesium can always give away 2 electrons, so electrons will force this Rx to create this environment of R minus, and Mg2 plus will get attacked and it would get R Mgx plus and X minus. The reason for writing a bond here is that this will show covalent character here. That means it will be a covalent bond. Okay, and between if I write as a whole molecule RMgX, we will have sufficient delta negative and delta positive here. That means high polarized alkyl group. Okay. If you see the reactivity of alkyl halides, we could say Ri is more reactive compared to that of RBr compared to that of RCl, for a simple reason, bond strength. Ri can be easily broken there, so this would be giving. Okay, right, so let me continue here. So there are certain cases in which Grignard reagent can't be formed at all. So what I meant to say, suppose if you take CH2 CHCl, which is vinylic group, and then we treat that with ether in dry ether and magnesium, this reaction won't take place. So magnesium cannot break that carbon chlorine bond because of a partial double bond character. But on the contrary, if you check out the same thing with vinyl group, it has been found this will replace and we will get this formation here. So here it does happen. So just remember it, it's only because of some bond strength. So in the case of phenylic group, this reaction will happen, but not in the case of vinylic. Next, other than that, if you have suppose bromine here, okay, and bromine here, we are treating that with magnesium in dry ether. Got it? So first we can expect that at one end we might see MgBr is forming, but on the other end, because there is a methyl group, I'll write properly, CH2 CH3 CH2 delta negative MgBr. This is how it is forming on one end, but this C minus is sufficient enough to get a double bond here and it will relieve this bromine. So you won't see Grignard's reagent being stable there. So it would immediately end into becoming ethers, alkenes. Next, in case if you have two bromines or two chlorines this way and you treat that with magnesium in dry ether, here ring closure will take place. So we can see two magnesium will take away those bromines and will get cyclopropane. Now suppose if you have CH2, okay, let me write this as N, and then Br is connected at both ends here, and if N is greater than 3, definitely Grignard's reagent will exist. So we can get Br Mg connected with CH2N and MgBr. But with 2 carbon or a 3 carbon, Grignard's reagent will not exist in dihalides. Okay. Now suppose if there are 2 halides, I have chlorine here, bromine here, and I take only one equivalent of magnesium in dry ether. So it will only go on to bromine side. Okay. Later on it will get eliminated because you know that at the second position it can't exist. Okay. In cyclic at the third position it can exist, fourth position it can exist, but on the second position alkene will be formed. Or in short, suppose if I gave you Cl here, Br here, and I said one equivalent of magnesium in dry ether, let me write this way, magnesium of one equivalent, then we will have Br Mg connected with Cl. Like I said, between R MgX, if you check out, this is quite delta negative, so which is almost like a carb anion formation, a complete carb anion type. Okay, so it has high polarity on it, and carb anions are very strong bases. So Grignard reagent will always act like a strong base character. So they'll always show this strong base character, which means suppose if I take a reaction, if I take a substrate like this alkyl halide, on one end there is hydrogen, I mean OH, and the other end there is chlorine. So if I treat that with magnesium, first magnesium in dry ether, okay, first we will see we will have MgCl formation with OH here, okay, and then this H plus will get transferred onto this part, which means this CH3 will take away that H plus and we will have CH3 here, it will be O minus, MgX plus and Cl. This is more or less like an internal proton transfer. So internally, if there is any strong base group present, it will extract the proton internally and O minus will be formed. Let me show you one more example. Suppose if we have COOH and bromine here, and I treat that with magnesium in dry ether, so we would get COO minus, Mg plus and Br. So first Grignard would be formed and then hydrogen internally will transfer to that. Another example, I have a triple bond. Triple bond means it is ending with that acetylide group. If you treat that with magnesium in dry ether, same thing, 1, 1, 2, 3 and this carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 carbons are there, 1, 2, 3, 4. So on this fourth carbon, one, two, three. This fourth carbon will have C minus Mg I plus and I. This is how it would exist. If it has already formed a Grignard's reagent, keep writing this. See, if the reactant already has a Grignard formation, CH3, CH2, OH for instance, and then you are reacting that with CH3, MgBr, okay. Like I said, this would be delta negative, delta positive, and this delta negative, you know, it has high polarity here and it would showcase its basic medium the most. So CH3 minus will instantly attack on the proton and take away the proton, and you will get CH3, CH2, O minus, MgBr plus CH4. Okay. So alkane is formed whenever we have a protic hydrogen present in front of an in front of a Grignard's reagent. Okay. So we'll put it as a note here. RMGX will have high basic character, hence give alkanes if treated with protic hydrogen. Now how do we see whether there is any protic hydrogen present or not? So let me write few cases in which all cases we can see alkane is formed. RMGX if we treat with amines, RMGX if we treat with amides also, RCONH2, RMGX on treatment with acids, treatment with alcohols, treatment with RC triple bond CH acetylide. We'll have only ammonia, phenol, PHOH phenol, or for that matter any HX, RSH or PSH, PHSH, basically thiophenol or simple alcohol or thiophenols. Bicarbonates or carbonates, sorry, bicarbonates or carbonic acid, any of that. In all of these cases, what we will find that they will extract the proton, got it, and alkane would be formed. So we will see in all these cases, we'll get RH as the product. Here also we'll get RH as the product. So this is a type of question that would be asked, like, how many number of moles of Grignard's reagent are to be used in a particular molecule, where you will have all of these combinations. You may have COH also, you may have NH3, you may have OH. In all of these cases, you need to tell how many moles of RMGX are useful. Grignard's reagent otherwise is a very huge chapter, but we are only discussing those points which are essential here. Okay, another thing we might forget, even if there is any carbon which can undergo aromatic. Okay, so if we treat this compound with Grignard's reagent, because it can form, if I remove that H plus, it can form aromatic. So here also it will form this minus and MgX plus. In these cases also we will see alkane is forming. Finished? Right. Now let me introduce to SNAE mechanism. SNAE, which is nucleophilic substitution, reaction via addition elimination. And Grignard's reagent is one of the best example to do that. So that's why we are studying through Grignard's reagent here. So what I meant to say, suppose if I take any Grignard's reagent like CH3MgBr, I treat that with C double bond O. Any C double bond O carrying group, these are called carbonyl groups. So Grignard's reagent, when you treat with carbonyl group, it will undergo nucleophilic addition. This is what happens. Okay, first let me show that what is the reaction here. If you have CH3MgBr, let me take acetaldehyde CH3CHOH. See, during the starting of the sessions, I told you when you have C double bond O, okay, the pi star orbital of this carbon would be available, as LUMO for bonding. Okay. As of now, I want you to understand that much, that carbon would have pi star orbital where a nucleophile can attack. And you know that CH3 is highly negative charge or highly polarized, so it would act like a nucleophile and attack there. So CH3 minus will attack as a nucleophile here. As soon as CH3 minus attacks, there would be bond breaking between carbon and oxygen, which leads to CH3, CHO minus and CH3. Okay. Afterwards, you can see this O minus, which will be forming a neutral salt like this, CHCH3 O minus Mg plus Br. So this is called the magnesium adduct. Okay, it would form like a thick salt in the solution. This on hydrolysis, if you treat that with if you treat that with water, the O minus present here will attack and accept the proton from water, and we'll get CH3 HCH3. It gets protonated to get this alcohol. So this is how alcohols are prepared using aldehydes or ketones. The best reaction to do that is to use Grignard's reagent. And attack of the nucleophile is the slow step here. Hence it is also called as nucleophilic addition reaction. I guess all of you understood what is nucleophilic addition reaction first. So I want you to first understand this, then we'll get into nucleophilic addition elimination. Nucleophilic addition. We have a lot of examples to discuss in this area in aldehydes chapter. Okay, as of now we just need a definition of what is nucleophilic addition. Now suppose after addition by some means an elimination step is also happening, then it goes for SNAE, which is addition elimination reaction. So let me write that oral reaction. I want you to first note this down. Like I said, suppose if a nucleophilic addition step is happening first, a nucleophilic addition step. Let me take R C double bond O in the carbonyl group. If I write H, this will become aldehyde, right? If I write some R, it will become ketone. If I write chlorine, it will become acid chloride. If I write OR, it will become ester. If I write OH, it will become acid, and so on. So we will get all the functional group henceforth by only changing the species here, correct? So from this chapter onwards, that is what you will majorly study, that what happens to a leaving group which is present here. Okay, if hydrogen and R are there, they usually are not leaving groups. These are not leaving groups. Okay, but if you have OR, CO, OCOCH3, okay, for that matter NH2, OH, correct, NR2, NR2, they all could be leaving groups at some point. Okay, so this entire list, they can be treated as leaving groups. So except in aldehydes and ketones, rest of all the chapters you would see they can undergo elimination there, and they can be treated as leaving groups. So we are talking about those groups. So first let me write that R C double bond O, and if you have some leaving group here, then a nucleophile is attacking on this carbon. So we would get R C O minus, and this has become nucleophile and leaving group. Got it? What is the hybridization of carbon here? It was sp2 hybridized, which got changed to sp3 hybridized. Because it is an sp3 hybridization, so it is forming a tetrahedral shape here, Hence, this particular step where a nucleophile is getting substituted, it is also called SN-TD step. TD as in formation of tetrahedral species. So the first step where a nucleophile attacks a C double bond O group is SN-TD. And always, henceforth, you will always see this is the rate determining step in all the chapters. So this, in fact, the attack of this first one will always be the rate determining step. So we have generated a species here. Start writing. That is the first step. Now you will see RCO minus leaving group and nucleophile. This is how it is present. O minus to make itself stable, it will make an internal attack. This is called an internal attack. Okay. And then as soon as it attacks, leaving group will leave. Okay. No matter weakest of the leaving groups also will leave from here, like OH minus, NH2, okay, RO minus. These are all very weak leaving groups. But here, when an internal attack happens, all those leaving groups will also leave. R, C, double bond O and Nu plus leaving group with negatives. Okay. So if you see the first step, in the first step what happened? The first step, there is a nucleophilic addition took place. And here there is an elimination took place. What elimination? Alpha elimination. On the same carbon, there was a double bond formation and elimination of that leaving leaving group has been left by formation of a double bond. Got that? Hence, this is what is happened here, that there was a nucleophilic addition and elimination happened. So this type of mechanism where overall nucleophilic substitution is only happening, but it is going through two steps. First step is an nucleophilic addition, second step is an elimination reaction. That's how it has happened. Please make a note.
Sir,
Yes, beta.
OH minus and NH2 minus are strong nucleophile.
But they are not acting here, right? They are on the leaving group side, I'm saying.
Why, sir?
If you recall E1CB mechanism, you remember E1CB mechanism, base catalase mechanism. There, if you
Yes,
have
sir.
OH here, what used to happen? The double bond used to close here and OH used to come out. Correct? The reason is C double bond O's bond strength. Okay, and it is being an unstable species earlier, it can even relieve any weakest of the leaving groups like OH, NH2, OR, CN, okay, except which one? H and R. H and R won't leave. That is the first thing I told you, right? Other than that, every other leaving group we have studied in the morning also, except H and R. Everything can be everything can be released in the elimination step. Okay.
Sir, it also depends on nucleophile now, which is going to attack. If it is weaker than OH minus or
Oh,
NH2
okay.
minus, then this will not take place.
Okay, I understood your point now. Suppose if you have this way, C double bond O, okay, and there is OH, and let's say Cl minus is attacking, okay, then we'll get RCO minus OH and Cl minus Cl, okay. Now here we have to judge which is better leaving group. If double bond closes, Cl will only leave. Getting it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Yes, sir.
once after the addition, here what I am adding the nucleophile is either an R group, got it, or some other group which is a weaker leaving group than the current leaving group. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You will see that in this coming example. As of now, you done with this, everyone? See this now. I'll add that as an example here. See, suppose if you have CH3 C double bond O O C C2H5, or I'll just write OET. This is an ester. Ester, when you treat that with CH3 MgBr, CH3 MgBr in dry ether, okay, and I'm taking one equivalent here, then we will get CH3 C double bond O CH3. This is the overall reaction. Let me show you the mechanism for this. CH3 C double bond O OET, and we have CH3 MgBr, Grignard's reagent, which is a good nucleophile, so that would attack on this carbon and SNTD will take place. Keep focusing on the language what I'm using. This is SNTD step. This is what happens. Now when double bond, when oxygen will try to close it as a double bond, which one is a better leaving group? Obviously R won't leave. Okay, so out of CH3 and OET, the better leaving group is OET only. So that's why we will get CH3 C double bond O and CH3. So if you observe what happened, first step was a nucleophilic addition. So first step is a nucleophilic addition. Second step is an alpha elimination. Okay, second step is alpha elimination. So overall what is the mechanism that happened? It has a substitution reaction only with addition and elimination. So that's how this is an example of SNAE. Now rate of SNAE depends upon how good the nucleophile you are adding, as well as how much carbon has delta positive charge. More the positive charge, more will be the reaction. So suppose if a particular nucleophile is attacking on R C double bond O Cl, R C double bond O O C double bond O R, R C double bond O O R, R C double bond O NH2. These are the four functional groups which you have, on which a nucleophile, any particular nucleophile, maybe let's say Grignard's reagent. Grignard's reagent is trying to approach these four. Let me call this as A, B, C and D. Now, if you see the rate of this SNAE, the rate for this would be more than this, okay. Reason is the delta positive charge which can attain on this carbon. More delta positive charge they can get, more is the reactivity, because nucleophile will attack at a faster rate. Okay. Now, chlorine will show little bit of plus M, but overall minus I, and you know that in case of halides minus I dominates over them plus M. So overall chlorine is an electron withdrawing group, and since it is electron withdrawing group, delta positive will increase on carbon. I hope all of you are following that point. Same way here, oxygen is giving plus M and it will pull by minus I, but in case of oxygen, plus M is dominant over minus I, and overall it is electron donating group. But if you see, this lone pair can be resonance stabilized on this side also, so it is a cross conjugation. So in cross conjugation, the effective electron donating nature is less. See the next one, in esters, lone pair donation here is by plus M and slightly it will pull by minus I effect. But with oxygen, plus M is dominant over minus I and it is strongly electron donating. Okay. Last one, in case of this, nitrogen is a very good donor with plus M and slightly withdrawing by minus I, and overall plus M is highly dominant over minus I in case of nitrogen, and I can say it is strongly electron donating group. So since it is strongly electron donating group, it will decrease the delta positive charge on carbon. So that's why amides are very less reactive. And acid chlorides are highly reactive because overall it is giving an electron withdrawing nature. So nucleophile can attack at a faster rate here. So remember this order of all the carboxylic derivatives. These are called carboxylic derivatives: acid chloride, anhydride, ester and amide. Please note that. Delta positive on this group is more better is attack of nucleophile. Write that. So I guess you can do this reactions of Grignard's reagent. For this chapter, this is sufficient enough about Grignard's reagent. What are the types of reactions which you will be coming across? Okay. Similar type of last example, similar type of SNAE you will observe during tosylation. During tosylation also we will see AE happening. Let me remind you what is tosylation. If alcohols are treated with tosyl chloride, this is CH3SO2Cl, this is TSCl, tosyl chloride. So when you treat with this, we will get overall will get OTS plus HCl. Now if you see the mechanism here, we have R, OH, lone pair, treating with S double bond O, and we have Cl and another double bond, double bond O here with PH CH3. This is how it is. So the lone pair will attack on sulfur, oxygen will break that double bond, and we will get R, O, H plus sulfur, O minus, Cl, double bond O, and this group. This is what happens in tosylation. Then we have learned that Cl minus will be left by taking away this H plus, and at the same time O will make a double bond formation there. So that's how we'll get RO S double bond O with CH3. Sorry, this is CH3, and this is what we call it as ROTS. Now check out what has happened here. First, nucleophilic addition took place, then alpha elimination took place, and this time it is all happening on sulfur. So with respect to sulfur, it is also an SNAE reaction. I guess all of you understood that. So that's all the reaction types from this chapter. And if you read NCERT, you can get through the physical properties. Few terms I will tell you, few important terms which I'll tell. Just note this down. Everybody has done with this? Let us see few physical properties now. Physical and general properties. First thing you should recall about the dipole moment. See, whenever we have alkyl halide, if you take X here, this would have delta negative, delta positive. And you know how do you measure dipole moment? Mu is equal to Q into D. Q is the charge, D is the distance or bond length. So if you check out CH3F, okay, CH3Cl, CH3Br and CH3I. In this, if you are comparing dipole moment, we call it as A, B, C, D, then the dipole moment would be better for B compared to that of A, compared to that of C, compared to that of D. Why this weird behavior between CH3F and CH3Cl? It is because of the bond distance. Okay. Although the charge is more dominant factor for fluorine, the distance is very small. When it comes to chlorine, charge is little bit less, but the distance is more. So that will cover up or that will dominate over the product which you get from CH3F. So remember this is an exception here. So in dipole moment, P and A is an exception there. Keep writing. Okay. Next, if you have CH2 double bond CH and X, this is how it is given, and you are comparing with CH3 CH2X. So vinyl chloride versus alkyl chloride. If you have to compare the dipole in this case, now the dipole will vary this way, right? So vinyl halides and alkyl halides, if you compare, this is what happens. Now this comes from the fact that CH2 double bond CHX, okay, and you know that this lone pair will give resonance stabilization, thereby decreases its polarity, because by inductive they should have delta positive and delta negative, but that polarity is decreased by this resonance. So we will get this as minus CH double bond X and plus. So due to that decreased polarity, we will see alkyl halides will have more dipole moment. So if you asked vinyl chloride or alkyl chloride, which is more soluble in water, it is alkyl chloride. The same logic is applied even if you take phenyl chloride versus cyclohexyl chloride. So dipole moment would be more here. Next, if you take CH3X, CH2X2, CHX3 and CX4, right? So here there is slight difference. If I take this as 1, 2, 3, 4, in case of chlorine, bromine and iodine, in case of chlorine, bromine and iodine, 1 is more than 2, then 3, then 4. And in case of fluorine, 2 is more than 1, then 3, then 4. Right, I would suggest you remember that this is a case for halides and fluorine has that exception. Next we will see melting point and boiling point of alkyl halides. So if we see CH3F, CH3Cl, CH3Br and CH3I. In case of melting point, it would vary this way. Boiling point, it varies this way, same way. Okay. And reason for this is the dispersion forces are dominant here, and this would be, dispersion forces will always be, proportional to molecular weight. More molecular weight, more is the dispersion of that molecule most of the time. Okay, in case if there is about chain lengths, you have seen this, all of this kind of in alkanes also, melting point is directly proportional to chain length. Okay, and it is directly proportional to branching, while boiling point is directly proportional to chain length. This is very generic, but inversely proportional to branching. So you can compare anything, just read through the NCERT, you will be able to find there. Last thing in physical properties, solubility of alkyl halide Rx in water. Right, so finished everyone, check this out. See, alkyl halides in generally are insoluble in water, except the one with single carbon, which is methyl chloride. Because as the branching increases, as more number of carbons increases, it would become very difficult for hydration to happen, because it already has less amount of polarity. But all alkyl halides show fair solubility in non-polar solvents like benzene, CCl4, CS2, etc. So if you were asked like, find the solubility of alkyl halides or give the trend of alkyl halides, CH3F, CH3Cl, CH3Br and CH3I, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you see the trend, 1 is more than 2 and 3 and 4. This is purely because of the polarity that it can develop. If you check out with respect to length, Cl, 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 as the chain length increases, solubility decreases. Okay, but if the branching is increased for the same number of carbons, it is similar to that of how the melting point happens. So in this case, solubility will be in this order. If you don't know the reason, just remember this. You have learned about surface chemistry already. So surface area of hydrophobic part increases, okay, with increase in chain length. That's why we will see this. I guess all of you are done with that. One last reaction which I forgot to discuss. Everybody is done with this? Okay. We have learned how to extract alkyl halide from alkenes before in addition reactions. You have learned how we can get alkyl halides from alcohols, correct? And from aldehydes ketones you will be learning in the next week when we discuss about polyhalides. But one alkyl halide which we can get it from carboxylic acids. Okay, so preparation from carboxylic acids. From carboxylic acids also we can get alkyl halides, and this reaction is called as Borodine Hans-Decker reaction. You may have learned this as a part of free radical mechanism. Overall reaction is RCOOAg silver salt reacting with Br2, the presence of CCl4. You will get RBr plus AgBr precipitate plus CO2. See the overall mechanism. You will get RCO minus Ag plus, this is a silver salt of carboxylate acid, and treat that with Br2. And as we treat that with Br2, we will get this as RC double bond O, OBr plus AgBr precipitate. AgBr will undergo precipitation. Now what we do in this solution itself, we slightly heat that. On heating, this will undergo homolytic fission to give RC double bond O dot plus Br dot. And this RC double bond O dot, this radical is an unstable form, so it will take one, it will pull up this electron from oxygen and one from carbon and becomes R dot and CO2. You have seen all of this in Kolbe's electrolysis also. So we'll get R dot and the R dot which has formed and the Br dot which has formed, they will undergo termination, or R dot can also be treated with Br2 to get again RBr plus Br dot. So that's how we will get the preparation of alkyl halide, and here this is valid for bromine and iodine. Okay, chlorine not so much. Okay, reaction will take place, it is slow, but if you check out the percentage yields, it is found that 3 degrees better than 2 degree better than 1 degree. What happens if it is a 3 degree? If you recall, if you have C double bond O, OH, C double bond O, and O dot here, correct? It will undergo disproportionation, correct? So which means whatever the MO that has formed earlier, okay, is it R dot? So R dot would be this, no, sorry, dot will be here. So it will undergo disproportionation with that, and we'll get C double bond O, O, and this, okay. So this type of a disproportionation happens if it is second degree. 2 degree also it would happen to some extent. Primary, the yield would be better. It is not the rate, remember, it is about the yield. More yield would be coming from primary R groups. So I guess all of you understood this. So this is how much is there for your syllabus for tomorrow's or day after tomorrow's exam. Please go through this now and finish the assignments. I'm here till 7:30. You can ask me doubts. You can discuss them. Okay, start working now.